Today, we're looking at Diamine Monaco Red. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, Diamine Monaco Red is a red ink. To make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I put the ink into a different pen for a day. I then put it into a D-like alpha with a medium nib to take my notes for this video. Now, before we get to the writing samples, let's look at the sciencey bits. And up first is the chromatography. And I agree with Vita that I've learned a lot by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down and immediately put it in the water for 10 to 15 seconds. And really interesting because this has a line of magenta across the bottom. The magenta pushes up and then we do see this bright red up top. Now the one on the right I let dry for 10 minutes before I put it into water. That magenta line across the bottom is much darker, much thicker, very much there. The magenta pushes up and that red is not as vibrant across the top, which also makes me wonder if a little bit of that red stayed in the line down below. But it does make me feel like there could be some hold on. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it might be to clean from your pen. Now, I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, it handled it very well. It did spread out a little bit and become a fine opposed to the extra fine, but it's very readable, very there, not a problem for a note taker that wants to be able to go back and do some highlighting. Water reactivated and took off all of the red, leaving the magenta kind of pinked a little bit there. The bottom edge, the bottom and left edge of the water, it looks like we start to see some of the white of the paper just beginning to show through. Now that's good news because I always prefer water to clean my pens and nothing else. Pen flush didn't do anything more than water did. In fact, I don't see any of the white of the paper beginning with pen flush. This makes me say that it's not getting anything more and that it should only ever take water to get this out of your pen. But that is very common for Diamine inks. Now bleach, as would be expected, obliterates it, takes it off the page. Please don't use a 1/3 bleach solution to get this ink out of your pen. For the inks I've tested, I have found an average viscosity of 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Diamine Monaco Red has a viscosity of 2.47, making it normal and almost average. To find my average dry times, I use my writing samples done with the extra fine and medium nib on Clairefontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. For the inks I've tested, I have found an average dry time of 17 seconds, with the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. Diamine Monaco Red has an average dry time of 9 seconds, making it a faster drying ink, faster than some marketed fast dry inks. Now, let's look at the writing samples. I picked this ink up in sample form, and to keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's take a look at Clairefontaine. We get no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade. The extra fine is a slightly lighter tone. It's ever so slightly lighter, with no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade, 9 seconds to dry. The medium goes back to the darker tone we saw with the 1.1. It has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, and no shade, 13 seconds to dry. Now the scrubby for both showed us no color variation. We didn't expect it. We didn't get it. The smear test you could likely recover if you smeared this while you were writing. Tomoe River. It has no bleeding. It has ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. The extra fine is lighter. It's a lighter tone. It's a few shades lighter. With no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade, 16 seconds to dry. The medium is a darker tone, much darker, but just slightly lighter than the 1.1.
It has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade, 21 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both showed us no color variation. We didn't expect it, we didn't get it. And the smear test, I believe you could recover this if you smeared it. So there you go, Tomoe River, you get one. Rhodia. Rhodia has no bleeding, no ghosting. Yes, a spot came through in the scrubby where I was putting it on stupid thick. I scratched the page, I think. The 1.1 has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. Just a dark, rich red. See if I can zoom this in a little bit. It seems a little too far out. There we go. Seems better. The extra fine is a noticeably lighter tone with no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade, 11 seconds to dry. Now the medium gets darker again. It almost goes back to the 1.1 darkness. So it makes a huge jump in how dark this color is depending on that nib. The medium has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade, 14 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both showed us no color variation. We don't expect it. We didn't get it in a smear test. You'd likely recover if you smeared this while you were writing. Limon paper, a paper that's had a lot of trouble with us and continues to have trouble. Lots of bleed spots all over, lots of ghosting. It does not touch the page underneath. You could not use the back of this page to write. It's a shame. Because it's just not good. The 1.1 has spread. It has minor feathering all over it. It has no halo, sheen, no shade. The extra fine is the exact same tone that we see with the 1.1. It has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade, 4 seconds to dry. The medium is the exact same tone we've seen in the other two. It has feathering all over it, tiny little feathers all over. You see it a bunch in the bottom of the Q in quick, in the K in quick. I see it in the. So we get a bunch of feathering spots, tiny feathers all over. Wouldn't stop you from being able to use this. It's the bleeding that stops you from being able to really use this. It has no spread, halo, sheen, or shade. It took 6 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both showed us no color variation. We didn't expect it. We didn't get it. Smear test, you could likely recover it. Black and red paper. Black and red notebooks have done very well. There's no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. It is a super dark, rich tone here. It looks fantastic. The extra fine gets slightly lighter, just a little bit lighter, not a lot. It looks quite a bit lighter on camera. It's the thinner lines that make it appear that way, but the actual tone is only slightly lighter than the 1.1. It has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade, 6 seconds to dry. The medium gets slightly darker. It goes back to what we saw with the 1.1. That medium has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade, 8 seconds to dry. The scrubby of the extra fine and the medium. Now the extra fine, looking far left to far right, we see a little bit of color variation, but we did not see any up here. The medium shows us none. We didn't get any. In the smear test, still, you could recover this. Now the G. Lalo gray paper. It's a laid paper. We've had a lot of trouble finding colors that look nice on here. It has no bleeding, no ghosting. This is such a vibrant red that it looks nice here. So we get another one. This ink has come through a couple of times here. The 1.1 has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade. Color looks fantastic. The extra fine, slightly lighter tone with no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. 4 seconds to dry, so super fast on this laid paper. Super fast. Medium, slightly darker, back to what we saw with the 1.1 in tone. No feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade, 7 seconds to dry. Now the scrubby for both showed us no color variation. We didn't expect it, we didn't get it. And the smear test, you could still probably recover if you smeared while you were writing with it. And that is all that I have for the writing sample.
Instead of finding inks that look like Diamine's Monaco Red, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. And I just like putting greens with reds sometimes, and I chose Diamine's Emerald because I thought that darker green with this would look fantastic. Before I give my opinion on this ink, I would ask, if you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. And if it's your first time here, I would invite you to subscribe. So what do I think of Diamine's Monaco Red? This is a very vibrant red. It lacks so much in performance, but its color is so vibrant, so rich, and so bold. It is worth looking at. Now, I am not a fan of red inks. I don't use a lot of red inks outside of correction, and maybe that's why I don't use it, because I use red so much in correcting papers that I don't want it outside of my work life. But this is a very nice red ink, which is hard for me to find and even harder for me to say. Thanks for watching.